Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Most people love the comfort of their lives more than they love freedom itself. But possessions, jobs, homes mean nothing and are worth not having when you are a slave. Nothing is of any real value if you are a slave. The idea of what you have isn't worth much to you when you are in a state of slavery. It's delusion which must be dispelled in order to overcome the cowardice in action. Develop the courage of a true dissident. There will never be true freedom here on earth unless and only until that level of courage is developed within human beings. We already have the current condition of nothing left to lose. This is exactly what these psychopaths are working on, folks. We're in the know about these things. They don't want you to have family, friends. They want you to be isolated. They want to take away your rights, your freedom of speech, your freedom to assemble, your freedom to get together. They want you imprisoned, confined into their ideological forms of slavery, incarcerated, or worse. They need you dead. They need your tongues ripped out. They simply don't want you to be able to make anything of yourself, especially if they know that you are in the know about these things. Speaking of Black Panther, the movie, there was a scene at the end where the truth comes out of the mouths of the villains in the movies. The Hollywood's technique to try and make people think that what they say is all wrong, when they mix the truth in with these psychopathic behaviors. It's a great psyop tactic that they use loosely in Hollywood movies, but the villain says in the end, when he's finally defeated by the hero with the spear to the chest, he says that we have the technology right now to save you. And he says, for what? So you can just imprison me? And just before he takes the spear out of his chest, he says, I'll take the path that my ancestors took, who leapt off the boats in the mid-Atlantic Ocean, meaning he'd rather die right there than be saved by the technological giant that he's talking about that can supposedly save him. Because they recognize that the death was way better than the bondage ever could be. Then he takes the spear out of his chest and he dies. I'd take a new approach than what he took in the movie because he wanted to become that of the new king oppressor. Nevertheless, what Hollywood was doing was putting words into the mouths of those villains, which are true to portray to the watcher as words that are not true, you see, because they're coming from a villain. So how dare you think that way? Because Hollywood just depicts movies all over the place that tell you otherwise. These are bad characters in the movie. So to speak out about them must not be true. It's all a big technique that goes on with Hollywood movies in general, and just the way that they word salad the mess out of people's head, phonetically change people all over the place. But the last word is always the correct one, and I'll repeat this. The last word is always the correct one. Imagine a flag with the communist flag with the gun in it that says, come and take it, motherfucker. And I'll repeat this because I think it's necessary to repeat, because right now in modern day life, we already have nothing left to lose. We've already had nothing left to lose for a long time. There's a quote that says the lost word, or the last word, which is no. N-O. There has to be a point where we draw the line in the sand and we say, this far and no further. In other words, there has to come a point in everyone's life where they're willing to stand up and become a man against the powers that be to tell these people, these psychopaths, that they are wrong, and what you're doing to me and what you're doing to everybody else around you is harming them. You are harming humanity. And you're done here. I'm done with it. I hope you are all too. We're not gonna go stay stand and go quietly in the night while all of our rights and all of our reasons to become equipped in this way just go idly pass us by and just watch the whole shit show and watch all of these other people die. And like it's like this whole shit show that's just being created over your life, as though anybody has any idea of how to go about fighting that. And you have to recognize that I put these things together before figuring stuff out. But either way, we have to stand up in solidarity to these people and let them know, no, you're not going to do this to us. You're not going to do this anymore. You're not going to go any further. The lost word, there has to be a line in the sand where we say this far and no further. I'll tell you exactly where my line is in the sand. When my speech is curtailed, or weaponry has been removed or tried to be removed and confiscated, or the powers that be tell you somehow that you're too messed up to be able to own your own firearm, to legally own the right to bear arms in this country is to deem you as a threat to the status quo. And then also the reset, like literally stealing every last little portion of my life as property to use against me, aimed to murder me. That one especially is where I draw the line in the sand. And yeah, you can present it to me however you want. Tell it to me that somehow my right to bear arms has been the availability in this country to be removed from anybody. I simply do not agree with the removal of the right to bear arms, as I believe it's a necessary one to be able to protect ourselves against these places that be, and these people that seem to get away with idly taking no accountability for any of their actions against you. Somehow you're still alive, but people don't look at it that way because you don't go to the hospitals or whatever, but they don't see what's gone on when you have, and they don't understand that. And so, I don't know, it's my natural right to possess a firearm is what I'm saying, and I believe that it's necessary for everyone to stand up against the tyrannical form of government. If they know it for what it is and they see it for what it is, that they should be letting everyone know that they have that right, not being allowed to being said like, oh, you have the right to have a firearm, but you don't. You can have firearms, but you guys can't. And then all the while we're going to be controlling the media and like pushing upon this 5G stuff. And, like total government oppressors are come in, obtain all of your weaponry. Anything that you have to protect yourselves with is wrong and illegal. We're just about to go to war against you guys, and we do not need you to be able to protect yourselves. So, I don't know. That's kind of what I see happening in the world. People can shake claims at this to be whatever they want for their own good, but I believe that if you see someone as unfit to protect their own life, liberty, or be able to take corrective actions against somebody that has the means to take away their own means to end their lives, you're splitting everyone right down the middle. You're splitting them up real nice. Not to idly get at the whole perpetration of creating duality inside of a whole humanity or anything, but that's exactly what they are doing. And I'm not going to idly stand by the idea that governments and police and military are somehow the only ones allowed to have guns. While yours and mine and your right to pretend to be able to protect yourself from an entrenched government, that's exactly what's coming for us, folks. And it's not anything that has to do with the New World Order. It's an old world order plan. It's the one that's always been in place since before these internment camps or re-education centers that they've come up calling them FEMA camps or FEMA centers, changing the names all the time. But either way, housing these kind of people inside of that way, I believe, is completely Nazism, worked here right on American soil. And I'm shocked and in awe of just how many people are going blindly along with the whole garbage youth, as if it's nothing but an oppressive government and an oppressive way of governing people, which we are already in a complete sleuth of an abusive way inside. So my take on the information is that one must make physical defense impossible, and the other makes my communication, the one makes my physical defense impossible, the other makes my communication of truth and getting reached to anybody out there impossible, not to mention of having innumerable times where I'm being hacked, hijacked, misaligned, destroyed in other ways. On top of it all, feeling like I have no real freedoms or freedom of press, no one to actually go to, no source of opportunity out there, no actual real place to go for the criminal actions taken against me, both said or not said. Both of the ideas of rights and wrongs are trying to come after our guns, our availability to protect ourselves, and our availability to use our tongues to where we're supposed to be able to land out, or where our freedom of speech is supposed to be able to be protected, and at the same time help protect us. Somehow, I don't know how they do that, but hopefully they do, because we are in dire situations. I personally am in dire situations with what's recently happened to me in my life. And so, yet we're trying so hard to get out of this way, and yet we're seeing all of these censorship forums across the whole global scale of it. We're seeing it full throttling posts, censored posts, setting the sabotage in the people's lives, other true inherent abilities being destroyed through the lack of better terms, businesses, full-on adventures, full-on advocations for better ways being introduced. Yes, I believe that yes, people can do better than these places of Silicon Valley, but when you're going up against these places, you can ensure that your inherent abilities of getting there might otherwise be destroyed, or have lack there of better terms of just being dismantled from the inside out or the outside in on whatever levels that they could possibly create, because their truest abilities are being able to be sabotaged by these Satanists. And that's how they work on it. The technocratics of today's modern society tell you that they're so progressive when they're just initial ways of modern day age warfare, in my personal view, and that's exactly what it is. It's straight up warfare. Censorship is a warfare. Stealing up someone's ability to speak out is a warfare. Getting people to believe their whole life as if they have a freedom of press, while at the same time oppressing them and giving them none, is also warfare. All of anyone's right to possess and carry firearms, when it comes down to these things, it comes down to these ways, is also warfare. When the lost word is accepted, and people will not back down, and when they are told, no, you will not come for my rights anymore, we only have one recourse of action left, and I call that the last word. And let me tell you something, it's a loud, loud, loud fucking word. And it's a loud, loud, loud fucking word that people should recognize these days as something that needs to be taken up into both ends of their hands, into the whole solar system when it's spoken, because this is not a joke and not a game anymore, people. People simply put have been set to refuse in their lives as much as they can see brutality and brutally being taken. And that's the reality that they're being set on in. So you should look on YouTube and look up war footage. You should see for yourself what bullets do to the human body. There's a lot of videos currently that are censored for a lot of people to see. I wish people got to see the burning people in the burning cages when I saw that shit. The kinds of things that I've witnessed being taken down is just horrendous, and I think that the people needed to see these kinds of things. Even if they're being put up online, I believe that people should be able to do the math and the research of their own mental ability to form the concentrated decision-making skills on what they're actually faced with the given information that people are coming out there with. Never being allowed to being censored and allowing for that kind of censorship is to say that blindly we need everyone's tongue removed from them. And we need them to go quietly into the night. And we also need to believe that whatever these psychopaths tell us to believe, that if we don't believe it, we're fucked. Right? So everyone should ideologically just be psychologically trained, and we'll watch it all real well, we'll understand it real well, and I don't know, it's just a fucking depicted movie is all we're living. It's not a fucking life. These people are using like directed energy weapons, incarcerating people without even the touch of a single button, burning people alive, laser technology and wars. They've literally turned video games into real life skit, playing it on a real-time computer screen, and wars against these dissidents and targeted whistleblowers are the same. These people are psychopaths and need to be stopped before every single human being and every single natural right is taken away and stripped from them from ever being able to defend themselves at all. I have a huge problem with it. My responsibility to the people is that I understand that what I'm presenting to you here to be true, and that you need to understand this stuff to be true, because we should shoulder the burden of being able to stop these psychopaths from coming up any more into our life, encroaching on any more than they have already taken in our lives, our will to continue to do so, and having the urge and the fight to do the moral compass thing about it, do the moral culpable thing about it, speak up, say something about the things that are going on. Calling it hate speech is just bullshit, because it's not a hate speech at all. It's giving people the facts about what they have behind to stand on, that's come from the Lord Almighty, to stand on their guns, to stand on what they're willing to do in this country. And if that's what they're willing to stand on, to take away our freedoms away in this country, and my countrymen, we have got to gain enough courage and enough balls to stand up against the tyranny from whatever may come. Because there isn't a peaceful revolution when these people are coming about to attack us on all angles, even the ones who've been around while I was creating this stuff. Violent oppressors and methods left to use you in desolate places, just barely surfacing of yourself. They don't want you to come up to life either. They don't need you to come to life either, because of the loss of life, liberty, and justice that's already been lost inside of you that far. And by realizing it, they will realize the kind of duress that they had left you in all along. They wouldn't be able to face you. So I've said it before in my works, I know exactly why this motherfucker moved away. He moved in my life, and I know exactly why he couldn't hold frame or couldn't hold face for me anymore. I've said my part. I've known my part, and I'm not doing it anymore, because I'm no longer going to be living at someone's decree. Every single ability of mine being stripped away from me, as if I haven't already had this kind of status morality of what's going on to curtail my rights and take away my ability to resolve and my ability to any resources that I have ever been told that I've had to be able to protect myself from the illegal ways that have taken away my ability to pay my own tax dollars. To pay my own taxes if I wanted to would be like, oh, how are we going to help fucking 3 or 4 other businesses pay me for the whole worth that I'm worth, so that I could have kept going on with my life? Oh, how about that? How about we just start with that little $10,000 or whatever it would amount to be? And if I could have just kept going, what would have that turned into? another fucking $164,000. Like, I wouldn't have been able to plug that stuff into anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, with all these kind of things that are legally being done to take up borrowed money so that we can't even have it within us, folks who want to go out there to help out these people, in chronic ways, in chronic positions, I think it comes to surface that these people are psychopaths, and they'll be paying the price, alright? They'll be making the sacrifice on what they're standing on. I don't care what cold-blooded murderer you think you can get away with. I don't care what kind of money you make. I don't care any of it. None of it. The cost of what you're doing is gonna come so quick. And I don't even care. Because you're not gonna get away with oppressing the people the ways that you already have. And I'm not gonna stand idly by as if it's just gonna turn out to be my reality, or allow it to be the reality of these children. You can all stand here and mightily get fucked if you don't think that that's what's going on here in this country today. But that's exactly what's going on in this country today. The only thing that gets more protection than money in this country and gets higher security than money is kids in cages. These motherfucking pieces of shit are the same people that curtailed my ability, if you ask me, to be as widely free as I could otherwise be. And in order to teach as many people as I could teach that kind of information on the kind of level and the duty that it takes to do this now, is not just some kind of figurative speech that I'm trying to give here. It's been real, and it's been my reality. It's been for a long time, and it's been even from the places that I've been in putting these very words together. So my life has been tarnished from to and through the very point of being able to say that there is no returning back. I have nothing left to lose. Simply defining it as anything other than what it is to define it as something other than a spiritual war, an already war that I've been at within these kind of psychopathic ways that people just do not want to see. People just do not want to see. They want to deflect from it to make peaceful revolutions impossible, basically, for me, because they're not even believing in the fact that I've already been inside of this spiritual warfare. These psychopaths have already been taking away any kind of peaceful resolve that I could make, anything I could ever create, anything else that I could have dreamed, without them compromising me through hacking, through stealing my identity, using everything that they can to throw me off the chambers for any kind of abusive way that they want to. I want to start seeing companies and charities that actually flourish and actually help the homeless people and actually help the needy. The only thing I ever witnessed was people coming there to give people donations. Oh, they just give them a good whatever percentage off the top, take home from themselves. That's how these people have three nice mansions and like 18 cars and whatever. You're not charitable. Just piss off. Seriously, just piss off. You care nothing about the homeless at all. And then they'll say stuff like that. You should just be riding the bus. You should just be impaired. You should just live that way. That's how you should live. No, I don't think that's appropriate. You're living these luxury lives while getting signatories to sign away for their general housing assistance money, so you can make money on the backs of the bruise that's already being created by these police and thugs that work together simultaneously, because they come out from the same group of mafia. They come out from the same group of core residents. That's to take away that person's life, to strip that person of their availabilities in life. So I'm not just coming out with one thing, two things, but I'm coming about with way more things about this that need to become loud, if you ask me. I'm not gonna let some fucking motherfucker dictate my life, and I'm sure is not gonna let some information hacker that's supposed to be my friend aim to take away my life, leave me in a constant state of duress where I've been through homelessness. I've been put through the mill with these people, and at the same time I've been stripped in other ways that I'd rather not even go into. So I'm not doing this for anyone to misunderstand the information that I want to get loud in, because in order to get loud in this kind of work, it's a task that has to be done in my life. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to live my life. I'm not going to be able to live it out completely. I'm going to be a complete slave to the system, end up dead, or a complete slave to this dictatorship control over my life. This dictatorship control over my life, the hacking. So I'm not okay with it. If you're not willing to actually take an actual stance against this tyrannical stance that people like me are being placed into, that's taking place right here in the homeland today, and have been so complicit in what's going on and happening in their lives, down to their very first words, down to their last. It doesn't matter. Arms discourage to keep the invader and the plunderer in awe, and preserve order in the world as well as prosperity. Herald mischief would ensue, were the law-abiding deprived of this use of them. That people would be deprived of their property and their rights. And that's why these people are being removed from the classworks of today. It's scary and it's sad, because none of these kids are going to know that these people even had fought for their freedoms, unless we do some real work, real gangster work out here, get people to understand these things and get it to stick without it being censored, for crying out loud. People deserve to know that the mistrusts of government have been large, and that because of these ways that it leaves people, real citizens, in constraints at times, while, even if they're gun owners being law-abiding citizens or not, it's not something that should be up for debate. It's our right. So the people that have these evil plans for us they're not doing the due diligence of keeping us protected and keeping us from harm and safe, and keeping us safe from harm. No, all of these places are junk. They're just getting you to just fucking run your lives down the gauntlet. Here you go. They have diabetes by fucking 34. They got it all planned out. How about that? They have it all fucking planned out. No holistic anyways anymore. No ability to even want for people to think that way. And then people just get lost in the chain of abuse, because those people can't take it to those levels. Those people can't do the things that you've had to do with what they've been putting you through. So that's just why I just feel that the motherfucker deserves to get his face split. 23 years of abuse, all that kind of fucking shit like that. Like, who out here would learn that? Who out here could learn that? Mind you, of all the other fucking abuses that came along the way of that 23-year or longer of hacking you and poisoning you into a way where, like, I'm like a mime in my mind. Basically, writing stuff down, trying to figure things out, scribbling. Anyway, it's very important to me to have the availability to be able to write down things based on the fact that my mind has been poisoned and I haven't been able to think clear. So coming to and staying away from people has helped me immensely. And so just having ghosts come around in that way to poison me up in the same way, it's like it leaves you in that same feeling, but worse. And every time it progressively gets worse. So, I don't know, people aren't going to detest me on the fact of what's happened in my life. And so, either way, I just wanted to say thanks for being here. Thanks for showing support in any way that you can. It means a lot to me. So I encourage you to do so.